guys, it's Annie Margarita Yang, and today I want to talk to you guys about why it's so important to be original in business and how to do it. A few days ago, I received the strangest and weirdest phone call that I have received in my entire life, and it was from the biggest competitor that I have in my industry for the niche that I'm serving and the services that I offer. And that is what inspired today's video. The backstory is a month ago, I told my existing client, hey, listen, you're not a good fit for us, so I'm going to terminate our contract. Per our contract, I have to give you 30 days notice to terminate our contract. So I will be providing you services for the next 30 days, but after that, please go find someone else to provide you the services because we're not going to do it anymore. And so he went to my biggest competitor to get a quote and find out how they can help him with the accounting. Apparently, my biggest competitor was looking at my work and told him, hey, Annie Yang Financial, the work is perfect. And she also charges less than half what we charge. So your best solution, I recommend, is to go back to Annie Yang Financial and fix whatever issues you're having there. So he didn't want to take on my client. And I tried really hard to get rid of this client, but he came boomeranging this client right back to me. Anyway, so this competitor just called me right after they had the conversation. And apparently he added me on LinkedIn, and then he looked on my website, did a lot of research on me. He found that I have a YouTube channel. He started watching my YouTube videos. And of course, my most recent videos are a few months ago. But a few months ago, the kind of things I was saying is I'm going to start a $1 billion company. That is my long-term financial goal. And he just called me on my business phone and then trying to find out more about what it is I'm looking to accomplish long-term with this company. Is it just going to be like some sort of cash flow? Like, do I just want to be able to quit my job? Do I just want to like make enough profit so that I can live a comfortable life? And I said, no, I'm going to grow this company to be extremely big. And then we are going to go public and we're going to be traded on the New York Stock Exchange. In this conversation, he said he's really impressed by my talents and he can see I'm going to go extremely far because he saw like my work was perfect and the kind of changes that I wanted my client to make that said, we're not a good fit unless you make these 12 changes. And apparently my client shared with him these 12 changes that I wanted him to make, fully commit to making these 12 changes or else we can't work together. He said, I took a look at your list and all of them were right. I was like, yeah, I do great work. And if this client doesn't want to do these 12 things so that I can do great work, we can't work together. So that's why I'm dropping him. But then this competitor was telling me like, hey, I own a company now for the last 5 years. I was in your shoes 5 years ago. All the problems you're experiencing right now, I've already been through it. Right now, I'm bringing in like this much $1 million a year, and I have 250 employees working for me. If you ever want my advice, I'm very happy to give it to you. And also, especially when it comes to like various softwares, I can already tell you exactly what software we're using. And then he went into detail about like all the custom-made software that he got developed for just his company to help him save time on this and that. He even went so far as to say, do you want me to invest in your company? I have money. I can invest in your company if you need money. And then I was like really taken aback that the guy I'm competing with in this industry is trying to offer me mentoring help and money. But anyway, I turned it all down. I said, I don't need your help. I can figure this out myself. When we hung up, I told my husband and my friends, I was like, this was such a strange conversation. Like, who does that? Like, just call me up out of the blue, wanting to offer me help. And I was like, no, thank you. And then my husband and my friends were like, why did you turn that down? Like, he has the experience. He's already been through the problems. Why don't you want for him to just hand you the solutions? It's because you guys know, like, since January 1st, I've been reading books on business strategy. And I compiled the list of all the best-selling books on business strategy, and I've been reading them. I've read about 15 of them so far out of the 65 that I created a list on. And out of the 15 that I've been reading, over and over and over again, a recurring theme is about why it's so important to be original, especially in this book. So I already talked to you guys in a previous video about Blue Ocean Strategy. I love this book a lot. And then especially this one, Good Strategy, Bad Strategy. In all of the business strategy books, they talk about why it's so important to do things differently from your competition. When it comes to strategy, it's not just this one little thing. It's almost like you're trying to put together a jigsaw puzzle and everything has to fit together. Basically, your marketing has to fit together. Your human resources has to fit together. Your hiring process, the policies that you have in your company have to fit together. The way you organize your team and the structure of like who is a manager, right? How flat is your organization? How many people in a team? All these little details and small, tiny decisions that you make have to all come together to create this amazing company that is going to be incredibly huge. And they all talk about how it's very much possible for a small fish to take on like this gigantic company. And it's only because like their strategy is completely different. And I told my competitor, I was like, hey, listen, I'm building what's going to end up being the McDonald's of property management accounting. You go to McDonald's, you look at the menu and you say, oh, okay, this is everything McDonald's has to offer. And this is the price. It's very much transparent. I would like to order chicken nuggets, fish fillet, and some French fries. And you know exactly what you're going to get because it's an extremely consistent experience. I told him, look, this is McDonald's. I'm going to be the McDonald's of property management accounting. People are going to know exactly what they're going to get. They're going to order accounting services off a menu that's going to be on my website. It's very much public what my price is going to be. And it's going to be what McDonald's is, affordable. It's going to be affordable for everyone. It's going to be affordable for people even living in the Midwest, where cost of living is lower, so that my price is gonna be so low that if people in the Midwest of the United States can afford it, then of course people living in Boston or New York City or California can afford to pay for the services as well. I told him it's a completely different strategy. So even if you told me what kind of software you're using, it's not going to help me at all because look, you have this custom-made software made by a developer and you're using all these other softwares, it's not going to fit into my strategy because my strategy is to offer low-cost accounting services for people. While doing that, I have to keep my own costs low. And he told me that he's going to be the Apple of the industry. So he's going to offer this premium service, blah, 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 blah. So in order to offer premium service, you're going to need all these premium stuff as part of your strategy. So it's just not going to work. And it doesn't work to just like take someone, like one piece of someone's strategy. It doesn't work. It's very hard for me to explain it to you guys unless you start reading all these books on business strategy. But it really just doesn't work. But I want to go more into like how to think more originally. The way I think about it is I should not be copying how other people in the accounting industry should be doing things. Because if I copied, I would also just be like a Me Too business. Anything that I say to people like my company is different is basically just some made up bullshit. So what I did was I looked at the industry. I went on like various websites of all the different local accounting firms nearby. And I noticed one thing, which is every one of those websites said, our accounting firm is really good. And you should go with us because we have this many CPAs working for us. Because we have, like, let's say 10 CPAs working for us, we also have a combined experience of 100 years of CPA experience. Because if 10 of us all worked for 10 years in the accounting industry, we have a combined years of 100 years of experience and knowledge to help you with what you need. It sounds ridiculous, but like it's true. Like if you go on the accounting websites, that is literally what they all say. We have a combined years of decades of experience to help you with your problem. And then another thing that they say is like, we serve this many industries. Like some of these websites say like, these are all the industries that we cater to. And they do like 30 different industries, which is also ridiculous. But that's just like their way of saying like, hey, we can help you too, because we have so much extensive knowledge across all these different industries. There's no way your company doesn't fit into one of these. And I looked at it and I was like, okay. And another thing is that CPAs can charge this ridiculous amount of money because they had all this training, okay? So to become a CPA, it's different in every state to become licensed as a CPA. But basically, for most of them, you need a 4 years accounting degree for your bachelor's. Then you need another 2-year master's degree. And then after that, you need to pass the CPA exam, which is 4 parts and takes up hours upon hours and hours of studying. And it has to be done within like a certain time frame. And then after that, you need to work under and be supervised under another CPA for a year. Here in Massachusetts, it's a year, but maybe in other parts of the country, it's different, for a year. And then they need to sign off on that portion, the experience portion. So that's what it takes to be a CPA in Massachusetts. And who's paying for it? Well, it's the business owner. In the end, it's the business owner pays a lot of money for that kind of education that a CPA has to go through to get licensed. And then after they become a CPA, they have to pay money for continuing education. Otherwise, they cannot renew their license. So it's an ongoing cost to be a CPA. It's not like just this one-time thing. So that is what it takes to be a CPA. And I'm looking at this and I'm just thinking, that's not the way we have to do things. Just because things have always been done this way in the accounting industry doesn't mean they continue to have to be done this way. Another thing that the accounting industry is doing a lot is one of the things, like the sticking points is that these firms say is when you become our client, you're assigned an account manager, a dedicated account manager who will know your financials and your bookkeeping inside out. So if you ever have any questions, you have this dedicated account manager who can get back to you and be able to help you in depth with your problems. And I thought to myself, like, well, I mean, that is exactly what makes accounting firms expensive. You have like this one dedicated, highly trained, highly, expertise person to help with the business owners who really they need accurate financials and good advice, right? Things don't necessarily have to be this way. So I was thinking to myself, a lot of my prior experience working at Domino's Pizza, I was like, what if the accounting industry can be done just like Domino's Pizza or McDonald's? Like, what if it just involved like you can order your services off a menu and we only did real estate. Like I only help people in real estate. I don't have to help 30 different industries. So that's one thing that's different. I only do real estate. And then what if the way we go about servicing clients follows a similar like fast food model? So I remember during my time at Domino's Pizza, it really changed the way I think about business. My time at Domino's Pizza, when it was really busy, and we had a lot of customers to serve, and there was a football game that night, and the orders just came in and in and in. So the way it worked is we made pizzas in an assembly line. One person would slap the pizza dough, push the pan down the line, and the next person puts the tomato sauce on top. Next person will put the cheese. The last person will put the toppings. After that, it goes in the oven. And then the oven slides inside a conveyor belt for 5 minutes. After the 5 minutes, on the other side of the conveyor belt, someone else is there with the pizza paddle to take the paddle, put it down on the kitchen table. They put it in a box, slice it up, box it up, and then they put it in this area where a driver can pick up the pizza. Just me going through the steps, we could have like 5 and 7 people working on a pizza. And you can make a pizza much faster that way rather than one person making the entire pizza from scratch. And then on the other side, also cutting it up, boxing it up, and then having it ready for the driver. What if accounting was done that way? Like, what if accounting didn't have to be done with this like highly trained person, highly educated? What if accounting could be done with people who just graduated from high school? What if I could serve people with those high school graduates who are very happy with the pay because I'll pay better than another employer who says, hey, you just graduated from high school, you can only make this much. But what if I pay a little bit more than what they could get elsewhere? So they would be really happy to have such a good job. I broke down the process of this accounting into just small subsets. So then they don't need to learn the entire process, which is going to take forever. They only need to learn like that small portion of how to do accounting. And then they just get really good at that one small portion. So that was my idea. And I think it's quite original because what CPA firm or any accounting firm for that matter is going to say, well, I'm going to hire people fresh out of high school or just fresh out of college with no accounting degree to work for me. And I'm not afraid to say that I'm going to have people working for me who don't have accounting degrees. I myself, I was told my work is perfect and I do not have an accounting degree. So I think it's very much possible. To be original, I think it's important to not look at how other people are doing it in your industry and then trying to copy what they're doing. Instead, you should kind of like think about other industries and what they're doing in other industries and think about how you can apply what other industries are doing and bring it into your industry. As an example, like training, owner of my competitor, he told me what he does is he hires people from Latin America to do the books. And he said he has this extensive training program and he doesn't allow anybody to touch a real client's real books for 6 months. So for 6 months, they're doing other things and training, and they can't touch anyone's books or financials for 6 months and after they're hired. Versus me and my system, I actually hired 2 people back in July. By the 3rd week of July, I said, hey guys, I'm going to Italy, so I won't be available to train you guys. I can check in for 10 minutes every morning. But aside from that, you're on your own. And they were able to pick up how to do the job. Like they were already adding value and already doing the client's books for me after only 3 weeks because I broke down the system in a way where they can learn it real fast because they only have to do 1 or 2 things versus learning the entire process. And I actually got this idea from piano, surprisingly. In learning piano for the last few months, in the 2nd month of my piano lessons, my piano teacher asked me, was there a classical piece that I always wanted to learn? And I told her, no, I don't have any particulars on my wish list, but my dad would like me to learn Für Elise for his 60th birthday. But I was like, but we don't have to learn Für Elise. But then like she was like, oh no, we can learn Für Elise. It's really easy. And then I was like, are you sure Für Elise is really easy? Like I'm a total beginner. I've only been learning, this is only my 2nd month. Yeah, it's really easy. You want to learn like the full version, right? And then I was like, there's 2 versions. And then she's like, well, there's an easy version for beginners or there's like the full length version, which is, a bit harder, but you can still do it. And then I was like, really? Okay. And then she's like, we can do like the full length version. I had like no confidence in whatever she was telling me. I thought maybe she was lying to me. Turns out she was. But at the time, that first day, she just pulled out the piece right away on her iPad. She's like, we can start learning right now. And then I was like, okay. And then she showed me, this is how you do it. She said, can you play this? Right? And I was like, yeah, I can play that, right? And she's like, okay, if you can do that, then you can learn Für Elise. And then I was like, really? She said, yes. After that, she said, I want you to play only 2 measures. And then this is what she showed me. Let's see. That's it. That's the only thing she said to do. Just practice those 2 measures. And she said, if you can do those 2 measures, you can play Für Elise. And then after I was able to do those 2 measures, she had me just repeat the same thing going up the piano. So basically, it's this, right? So it's just like the same 2 measures, but just repeated going up the piano like 3 or 4 times. I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's simple enough. Like when you break something down to be only 2 measures, and then you get really good at those 2 measures, then you work on the next 2 measures. Then you work on the next 2 measures after that, then the next 2 measures after that. Then you just put 2 measures together to make it 4 measures. And then you take 4 measures and you add it up to make 8 measures, and stuff like that. Then you can learn piano. And then I was like really blown away by the training strategy that she had. And so I took the same training strategy and did it for the accounting for my company. The 2 people working for me, they have been learning incredibly fast. That is just like one example of like how to be more original. Like I got my inspiration for how I can train my employees from my time in learning the piano. And I didn't get the inspiration from looking at how my competitors were training their employees. That's why I pretty much refuse to see what my competitors are doing because I'm creating something totally new and original, and I just really don't need to copy. And I'm okay talking about exactly what I'm doing because my competitors can watch this video and think to themselves like, oh my gosh, what she's saying is genius. But they're not going to wake up tomorrow and go like, well, Annie's strategy, there's something there and has the potential to be $1 billion company. I think I'm going to copy it. Because, in order to copy my kind of strategy, they're basically going to have to fire everyone that they hired and then like start hiring high school grads or recent college grads with no accounting degrees and then start creating training programs like me. And it's a lot of work. I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm saying they can, but it's highly unlikely they're going to start firing all the people that they hired and start telling their clients like, hey, listen, we're not the best because we have all these CPAs working for us with all these years combined experience, blah, blah, blah. I highly doubt they're willing to do that. They have a lot to lose. They're basically stuck in the strategy that they've always had. According to all these books that I read, that's why all these big companies, even when they find out exactly what it is that these small companies are doing, that they are growing so fast, they have a hard time pivoting because changing their strategy would require losing so much. So that's it for now. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.